coordinator of adult programs here, and we are very pleased to have this series, Cultivating Social Change Through the Arts and Media. This is the first in the series. The next one will be Monday, October 22nd. There's also one in November. So you can pick up a flyer over here about a flyer that looks like this, about the one in October. Also, other events we have coming up, the Harper's Escape, where we have as many as 25 Irish harps playing in concert on this stage and in front of this stage. That will be coming up on Sunday, October 7th, and then October 11th, that's a Thursday evening, Middle East Gender and Politics with a professor from Rutgers, Professor Michael Curtis, and so that should also be another wonderful program coming up. This particular program is sponsored in part by a grant from the New Jersey Council for the Humanities, and part of their requirement is that we give them feedback from our audiences. So you should have either received a feedback form or you can grab one on the way out. Please try and fill out some of those feedback forms so we can fulfill the requirements of the grant. During the dance, I don't know what's going on with this. During the dance portions of this event, no one's ever had a problem hearing me. During the dance portions of this event, please do not use flash photography. It will distract the dancers and we don't want any injuries. Non-flash is certainly okay. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce Ms. Seema Mundra, who is the founder of Enjoy Explore India.
Thank you so much, Jill. We'll begin our program with a Pledge of Allegiance. I request you to stand. The flag is on back. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please have a seat. Before we begin tonight's program, I would like to invite Rolly Curry. She is from the South Asian, a South Asian group that is come here to actually help us, get excited about the voting that's coming up and register if you haven't registered. So I'm going to hand over the mic to her. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rolly Curry. I'm an attorney with SALT. SALT stands for the South Asian Americans Leading Tomorrow. We're a nonprofit, nonpartisan group that tries to advocate for South Asians' rights. We're conducting a South Asian voter registration campaign specifically here in New Jersey because New Jersey South Asians are on the rise in terms of numbers, and we want to have a voice here in New Jersey as well as on the American platform. And so, especially after 9/11 and the post-9/11 backlash, hate crimes that have been affecting our community here in New Jersey, we want to make sure our voices are heard. So if you haven't registered, any U.S. citizen 18 years or older is welcome to register in the back. I have forms. I will mail them for you personally, and I'm passing out some literature that you'll probably get in when you're sitting in the audience. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Craig. Well, it also goes for the people who are not of Indian background. I hope you're registered to vote. So if you haven't, then I'm sure there's material here that you can pick up and register to vote. It is my great pleasure to welcome all of you to tonight's event, Cultivating Social Change through Art and Media. As explained by Jill, this program is brought with the help of a grant from the New Jersey Council for Humanities with the generous support of East Brunswick Public Library. You are enjoying the event at the library, and it is thanks to them. And also, I would like to thank all the staff because they've been scrambling around helping us put all this, the chairs and the decorations together. So thank you very much. And also by Enjoy Explore India. Our first segment will focus on Bharatanatyam, an ancient Indian classical dance from the state of Tamil Nadu. Movement enlivens us, expressions connect us, and the universal language of art brings us together. As I pondered on this dynamic art form of dance, I am reminded of a beautiful poem by Rabindranath Tagore, Streams of Life. The same stream of life that runs through my veins night and day, runs through the world and dances in rhythmic measures. It is the same life that shoots in joy through the dust of the earth, in numberless blades of grass, and breaks into tumultuous waves of leaves and flowers. It is the same life that is wrought in the ocean cradle of birth and of death, in ebb and in flow. I feel my limbs are made glorious by the touch of this world of life, and my pride is from the life throb of ages dancing in my blood this moment. Dance is an art form, and dances around the world have had the ability to transcend language, customs, traditions, to connect us as human beings and transform our perceptions and preconceived notions about unfamiliar cultures. And most of all, it has the power to connect us with life. And tonight we meet such a dancer in Mrs. Ramya Ramnarayan, the guru and artistic director of the Nrityanjali Institute of Dance. She enthralls audiences around the world and inspires youth to learn this ancient dance form right here in New Jersey, in North Brunswick. We also have students from Nrityanjali Institute of Dance who will share the stage with their guru and also share their perspective on how this dance form has helped them connect with their roots and shape them as individuals. I would like to invite Mrs. Ramya Ramnarayan to the stage and her students to begin tonight's performance. Please, is Ramya? Late Guru Kalaimamani Rajratam Pillai and Padma Bhushan Srimati Kalanidhi Narayanan. She is the recipient of many awards from governments and organizations in India and New Jersey. The title of Kalaimamani was presented by the government of Tamil Nadu state, Nandana Mamani by the Karthik Fine Arts, Chennai, and Nritya Seva Mani by the Cleveland Tyagaraja Aradhana. The New Jersey State Council gave her the Artist Fellowship Award for choreography, and the Senate and the General Assembly of the State of New Jersey passed a joint resolution recognizing Ramya for her commitment, dedication, and achievement to the arts. Ramya is a New Jersey governor appointee and on the board of trustees for the Asian American Study Foundation. Ramya, I'm extremely delighted that you are here today with us. Welcome.
Thank you, Seema, for the wonderful introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and namaste to all of you. The song that was presented just now, Maitrin Bhajata, is a beautiful song written by the saint poet, the Swamiji of Kanchi Math from southern India, specifically sung at the United Nations by the Carnatic Queen, Bharat Ratna Srimati M.S. Subbulakshmi, as I mentioned, at the UN conference for its 50th anniversary celebrations. This song talks about universal brotherhood, friendship, destruction, and violence is not the way of life. It's important to donate your wealth, share what you have with the others. It is vital to come together as a community, as a nation, as mankind in this world together and avoid violence. When hearing this song, the delegates and all the audience members at the UN, they were moved in tears because the song was written in Sanskrit, one of the most ancient languages spoken. And it was written for the 50th anniversary of United Nations. This song made a lasting impact in the hearts and minds of the audience that day, 50 years ago, at the UN. It is a song which cultivated a social awareness through arts. The art form that we are presenting today is Bharatanatyam. Bharatanatyam is an ancient dance form from India. It is a style of dance which originated during Vedic times where Bharatanatyam was used and still is being used as a ritualistic worship to worship nature gods. Then later it was passed on to epic times when great epics such as Mahabharata and Ramayana was written. And even then, Bharatanatyam was used as an entertainment, also as a worship. Later, it was brought to the temples of India. Various kings in India, various kings built beautiful, amazing, massive temples. In these temples, we find stone inscription, paintings on the hallway, on the ceiling. We have beautiful sculptures all over the temples, which tells us Bharatanatyam flourished. Really wonderfully, it was flourished, it was patronized by the kings. There is a wall inscription found at the Tanjavur temple. At that time, about 1,000 years ago, the temple dancers called the Devadasis, they are the temple dancers who dedicated their lives for the godly services, and they lived in the temple. They were patronized by the kings, and there were over 400 of them living part of the temple. That much of an excitement and energy was there in the Bharatanatyam scene almost 1,000 years ago. Now today, Bharatanatyam is practiced, performed, taught all over the world. Not just practiced and performed by Devadasis, but by many common people from all walks of life in different parts of the world. Bharatanatyam, as I mentioned to you, is ancient. Its technique is brilliant, yet it's very approachable. It's ever evolving. It's beautiful, elegant, but powerful. The style has two aspects: pure dance, called nritta, and narrative passage, called abhinaya. Nritta is where the dancer uses movements of the body, gestures of the hands, creating symmetrical and geometrical movements with firm rhythmic footwork. This does not convey a theme or a message, but to the contrary, abhinaya, or narrative passage, is where the dancer uses the same movements of the body, same gestures of the hands, but this time tells a story or an idea to the audience. Abhinaya are of four kinds. The first is angika abhinaya. Angika is usage of the body, usage of the gestures. These gestures can be both one and two hand gestures. I'm going to take one such example, a one hand gesture called pataka. You can see how the usage can be wide and it can be interesting. With pataka, we can show the sky, day, night, ripples in the water, wind. We can also express emotions such as, come here, take a seat. Why is the music so loud? Refrain from speaking, I've heard enough. Why this indifference towards me? So on and so forth. Just with one gesture pataka, there are multiple usage. And think about the options. It's amazing to think. There are number of one hand and two hand gestures codified part of the Nati Shastra. This comes together as Angika Abhinaya. The second is Vachika Abhinaya, or usage of words. There is abundance of poetry, part of the Indian history, Indian epic. And we have many different songs that, as a Bharatanatyam dancer, we can emote to, express to, use, and tell a story through which the audience can feel the same emotion that the author has felt. But it's very important for the dancer to realize the time at which the song was created, the mood at which the song was written, the language which was used. So good working knowledge of the language is very important. The dancer has to also understand the point of view of the author, why this song was written at the time it was written. So there are many different facets to it the dancer needs to understand. The third aspect is aharya. You can notice how us dancers are dressed up with a certain kind of jewelry. We have a certain kind of facial makeup. We've braided our hair long. We have a costume which enhances the form. All of this replicates sculptures found in ancient Indian temples. And the last aspect is satvika. Satvika is the feeling or the emotion that we feel within. Devoid of satvika, angika, vachika, and aharya is meaningless. It's just mere movements without life. So it is important to bring all these words of gestures and the costume which represents the sculptures and the movements of angika all should come together with the satvika, the bhava, the life, the feeling that's brought out by the dancer and that's felt by the audience, called the rasa. So these four aspects combined together is abhinaya. So as I mentioned earlier, two aspects: nritta, pure dance; abhinaya, narrative passage. Here in today's presentation, you will see both these aspects very well presented. Bharatanatyam is typically presented in a certain structure or a format called the Margam format. This Margam format was put together, it was codified by the Tanjore brothers from the 18th century. They were poets, musicians, as well as dancers. They had put this format together. The format opens with an invocation piece. Later, it moves on to a more complex number with both the Nritta and Abhinaya combined, called the Varnam, further progressing to slower but more leisure pieces called the Padams, which are songs expressing emotions, concluding with the Tilana, a fast-paced, dramatic grand finale number. So, following the format of the Margam, we commence today's performance with a Pushpanjali, an offering, a prayer in the feet of Lord Ganesha. Ganesha, an elephant-faced Lord with large elephant ears and a big trunk. The Lord who is very fond of sweets, so he holds sweets in his hands. He is the son of Lord Shiva and goddess Parvati. He is the remover of all obstacles in one's path. He is worshipped ardently by his devotees. That's our opening invocation. Immediately following that is an Alaripu. Alaripu is a very simple yet effective opening number. I call it the complete body workout because I feel this is one item in 3 short minutes can give an effective workout to the entire body. The movements begins with simple movements of the eyes, gradually introducing movements of the neck, moving on to movements of the arms, utilizing the movements of the entire body. And the dance is presented in 3 positions. The way I'm standing, the standing position or Samapada. Moving on to a half sitting position. And then on a full sitting position. The Alaripu movements are very symbolic. When the arms are taken above the head, the dancers offer their prayers to the Almighty. When the arms are brought right at the forehead, the dancers pray their prayers to their teacher, their guru. When the arms are brought in front of the chest, the dancers welcome and greet the audience. With that, the Alaripu begins. Alaripu can be set to many rhythm count. This Alaripu is set to a simple 3-beat rhythm count. To make it a little bit more interactive and interesting, I want all of you to wake up, sit up, and not just be a spectator, but to be a participant in today's performance. So, I'm going to teach you the rhythm count that goes with this Alaripu that will be shortly presented by the dancers. As I mentioned, it's just got 3 counts, very simple. Each rhythmic count is correlated with a rhythmic syllable. 1, 2, 3 can also be perceived as ta, ki, ta. To make it a bit more interactive, I want you to try saying the syllables with me. Please remember, when I sign my hand this way, we will all join together and say the syllables ta, ki, ta as we clap in cycles of 3. I'll demonstrate it to you once so you know how it's done. Ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta. Not yet. Remember, when I sign my hand this way, we begin. And when I sign my hand this way, we stop. Shall we begin, everybody? All right. Let's begin. Ta, ki, ta, ra, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta. Beautiful. Timing is very important in dance. So we stick to our times. So now to make it a bit more interactive, let's welcome the dancers to to the dance floor, but please wait. They have to present their entire Pushpanjali. That'll take a good 6 to 8 minutes. Then I will request the sound manager to pause the music so that we will familiarize ourselves with the Takita syllables one more time. Bring the dancers back onto the dance floor and try to say the syllables while they are dancing the piece, but not the whole way. I want you to get a little feel of the piece just for a short while. But please remember, when I sign my hand this way, we stop, sit back, relax, enjoy the rest of the dance. Did you understand that, everybody? Shall we welcome the dancers to present the Pushpanjali? Let's welcome them with a round of applause. Thank you.